What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley, and that's the one, the only. It is Scott Savage. Scott, what's going on, man?
Oh, I just mentioned I put a little bit more time into GoldenEye on the Xbox, and now I'm past the second level. I have a whole lot more game to go. I'm loving it.
Okay, I was going to ask, early thoughts. What are your thoughts on GoldenEye? I've seen some feedback coming in going, poof. Yeah, it's not a remaster from the ground up. It's a port of the existing. So what do you want?
Yeah, I'm told there's some issue on Switch with the controls, and I've seen people comment about frame rate drops on Xbox, but I haven't experienced either of those issues, so It's been clean to me. And that's the best complaint I've seen so far. Whoa, this game looks awful. Almost like it's 20 years old.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is, man, what a game though from back in the day. It's nice to see it finally make its way over. What's up, Brad, who joins us live just like you can, 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday to Friday, over on twitch.tv/theofficialitg or youtube.com/theofficialitg. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later inside the game.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, what does he say here? 007's awesome. Just wish multiplayer across systems. Yeah,
I've discovered there's no actual online suite for the multiplayer. So even if you are on Switch, which allows multi, you have to connect via friends list. That's it.
Ah, gotcha. Scott, we do have a lot on today's show. I'd love to get into it because there's a lot to talk about. Ubisoft is back with more Far Cry, and they're working on something else for the franchise. Neil Druckmann dropped some hints for the upcoming Last of Us multiplayer and what is going on with the day before. Oh, man. Remember, who was it? Blue Box?
Blue Box.
Dude,
it's giving me very big Blue Box vibes.
Absolutely is. I'm like, not another one. Like, come on. But let's get into it right from the top. Over at Insider Gaming, Tom Henderson has this to say about Far Cry 7 and a Far Cry multiplayer in development at Ubisoft. Dude, here, okay, I'm gonna get in the article and then I got some thoughts. Insider gaming sources have revealed that 2 new Far Cry games are in development at Ubisoft. One presumed to be Far Cry 7 as a single player experience, and the other to be a multiplayer only title. Details on what both games entail are slim, but it's understood that the titles were intended to be one game at one point, but separated to become 2 separate projects early on in development. The game was believed to be known as Project Talasker, under the helm of Day until both games became their own separate entities. Dude, after the departure of Blizzard Entertainment. What does that have to do with? Oh, all right. Studio. Far Cry 7 is now internally referred to as Project Blackbird, whereas the multiplayer experience is known as Project Maverick. Both projects are believed to be heavy involvement from Ubisoft Montreal. That's good to see. That's cool. Scott, Far Cry, man, what are your thoughts on Far Cry? Where are we at with this?
Oh, I really, really liked Far Cry 5, but 6 just was a complete miss with me. So I'm kind of worried for what comes out in 7. Although the acting side of 6, there was a huge amount of production put into it.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite certain what the issue was there.
It was more Far Cry. That was the issue. If you like Far Cry, I think you're going to dig Far Cry 6. A lot of people did. I thought it was just more Far Cry. I'm like, yo, I played this already. It's just like more Far Cry. Your island's been taken over. You got to go free liberate the island. And then that's just the same thing over and over again. Dude, Far Cry 3 is still my go-to. That game was incredible. I absolutely loved it. But
I loved 4 just so much more. It feels like 3, but it was just kind of updated and fixed up. But then Primal, that's really the standout.
I was getting there. We haven't got there yet, but we'll return back to Primal because that's, that is a missed opportunity in my eyes. But yeah, if we get into Far Cry 7, are we following suit again? Here we are in another jungle landscape, right? Another character that has to go free everybody because they're being overrun by the government or by a bunch of rebels, or like, who knows what we get into, right? But it's always the same thing over and over and over again. What can they do to really innovate and push Far Cry to that next level? You talk about 4, dude, I had a blast playing New Dawn. Like, that was for me.
That's one I really haven't played.
Oh, dude! After 5 came New Dawn, and I thought it was really, really cool the way 5 ended, and then New Dawn takes over. I'm like, yo, this is awesome. I really had a blast playing it, and I think a lot of people honestly slept on it. I was just like, crap, you guys missed out on a good game. But then we get in Far Cry 6, and I'm just like, Nate and I reviewed it for the show back in the day. Is we both are on the same plane of it's just more Far Cry, which isn't a bad thing, right? In the end, it's not a bad thing. The landscape looked beautiful, the characters are great, and they're fun to play with. But at the same time, it's just more Far Cry. We want to see something pushed forward, and I'm nervous. We're just gonna fall into Far Cry 7 and go, yeah, it's Far Cry again, right? Like it's just, oh man, I don't want that.
I'm looking for a Far Cry with more than 2 factions. That would be my first idea to break it up.
Sure.
And any sort of Ubisoft game where I don't climb a tower to open up the map, I'll be very excited because that'll be something new.
Okay,
Not saying I dislike Ubisoft games. I'm quite the opposite.
For me, like, okay, I go back to Assassin's Creed, right, where you do the leap of faith. I love the challenges of climbing up the towers and then leap off. And in Far Cry, I actually enjoyed the towers. That's for me, that's a highlight within these games. And I know it doesn't work that way for a lot of people. In Forspoken, you have these towers that overview the map, but you literally just walk into the center of the tower, dude, and you push up on the D-pad, and then poof, it pops out, and then you can then look around, and it becomes then a fast travel point, which is cool. And I'm like, oh, here comes a tower. And then at first I did, I'm like, oh, this is not a tower. It's just a lookout point.
You just walk out and press a button.
Pretty much, right? And I'm like, okay, you solved that, because not everybody likes these tower-esque mechanics. I personally do. It's just I like that style. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. What are your thoughts on the multiplayer side of it? Are you like, we had multiplayer in 4? I want to say there's multiplayer came to
I think
4,
there
right?
was 4. Yeah, 5 certainly.
Okay.
New Dawn had it, I believe, as well. I don't think Primal, but then again, I never tried to play that one multi. But I'm wondering if is this going to be just a co-op experience? Is this going to be just a PvP experience? Because in either case, they could do it. And if it were co-op, that could fit into the games of service that we know is on the cutting board right now.
So, if we get a single player, oh, he said single player. Tom said single player, didn't he, for Far Cry 7? But we had multiplayer, we had co-op in 6. We've had co-op for years now. So I think it'd be kind of missing if you go into 7 and then lose that co-op feature, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that would be a step backwards.
I think so too. So then if you get in the multiplayer side of things, I think it's a standalone team versus team PvP-esque experience here. And can you tie in the story of whatever 7 turns out to be to bring over into the multiplayer? So launch the single player first, right? I think that's the go-to way to do this. Launch that first, and then let everybody get into that, have a good time, understand who the villain is, who the hero is, and kind of grow from there. Finish that out, and then a month after, maybe drop the multiplayer edition of it, and then get people tied back in. Like, one of the things we missed, and we talked about it a lot on this show, is The Last of Us, and it's coming up again on today's show. The multiplayer, dude, like,
yeah.
The Last of Us Part 2 has been done for 2 years, and we've had nothing since. Here we go. We're all getting pumped for the multiplayer side of it, and I wonder, does Ubisoft do the same thing, but give it to us a little bit sooner? Like, we're starving for anything The Last of Us. Granted, the show is here, and we're all heavily involved in that now and having a blast watching that. Dude, it's creepy episode last. Oh, Tess. So it's just one of those things. But then here's the other missed opportunity. Scott, you brought it up. We talk about it a lot here as well. Far Cry Primal. Where is a sequel to that game? Dude, I know so many people who love Primal, myself included, and are asking for the sequel, and yet Ubisoft just continues to ignore that and go on to the next one.
Is this a case of just nobody bought it enough? Is this a Grand Bend Studio kind of issue where if you had played Days Gone, there would have been a Days Gone 2, or if you had bought it rather. But Primal, I thought, kind of had lagging sales, but I don't think it sold badly.
I'm trying to find sales numbers right now. Bear with me. I'm looking it up. I wonder if anybody else can see. I don't. It was released in 2016 though. I do know that much. Dude, I would love to see Far Cry Primal 2. Like, that franchise to me, or that game itself, was a ton of fun, and there's something missing there for the opportunity to bring that back around. No
automatic weapons. That's what changed it up. You have to throw
cool.
everything.
It was very cool. I don't know. Yeah, I don't see any sales numbers. I would have had to do some more digging prior to that. But either way, dude, it would have been. I don't want to see 7. After coming off of 6, I'm like, I'm good for Far Cry for a while.
Yeah.
Right? I don't need another Far Cry. And granted, this is still in early development, so it's going to take some time to get to it. But if they announce Far Cry Primal 2, now you've got my interest. And then,
Yeah, I think either roll it back to Far Cry Primal again, way back in the past, or put it forward, but forward by more than 20, 50 years, because I feel like I'm burnt out of near future as well.
So you're looking like futuristic, we're in space kind of Far Cry?
But that could work, yeah. Almost a BioShock scenario at that point, though. You're on a space station and things go awry.
Yeah. We'll see what happens here. Fewer details are known about Far Cry 7 or whatever the next mainline game will be called, but a similar setting to the multiplayer experience could be possible as both titles originated from the same game. It's understood that the games are still at least a couple of years away, with a tentative scheduled release date of fall 2025. Dude, I do not see that happening. Right? So, yeah, we'll keep up to date on what's going on with the world of Far Cry. It's always exciting times for us over here with that game. But yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what they have in the works. But what I'm really excited for, Scott, is The Last of Us multiplayer will have a co-op focus. Hence, Neil Druckmann, Nathan Birch over at WCCF Tech. Well, Naughty Dog has made their name with a big cinematic single-player experience. They've let it be known that their next big thing is The Last of Us multiplayer project. Thus far, we really don't know much about the new take on The Last of Us, other than it will be a standalone title, have a story, and be as large or more ambitious than Naughty Dog has ever been before. That's huge.
Large. Yeah, to say that about a multi is interesting.
Very, right? So, including what kind of multiplayer format we can expect from the game. It's a PvP co-op, a battle royale. Nobody really knows. Well, in a recent BuzzFeed interview for The Last of Us on HBO, Neil Druckmann have let some details about Naughty Dog's multiplayer project slip. In addition to reiterating that the game will have a story and fresh cast of the characters, Druckmann mentions that that you'll be able to enter the world of The Last of Us with a friend. That seems to imply a co-op game, and fans have noted that the few pieces of concept art Naughty Dog have revealed have depicted pairs of two working together. Quote, "We've been pretty open that the next Last of Us game is going to be this multiplayer experience where you'll be able to enter the world of The Last of Us with your friend and get to experience the tension and the brutality of the world in a brand new story and cast of characters that live in another city that we haven't seen yet in the world of The Last of Us. This is going to be another chapter in the universe of The Last of Us." Dude,
I like the sounds of that. Exploring more of the surrounding area, not the same characters that we already know.
Right. It's oh boy. So I was thinking when we get into The Last of Us, this is like what we've known in the past, PvP, right? Like that's
yeah.
Are we going to have this PvP element, but yet we're also going to have a story co-op experience, kind of like you get into Ghost of Tsushima, for example, right? You get Legends. Legends has a 4-person horde mode, and then it also has a 2-person co-op story campaign. Is that what we're falling into here? Like now I'm kind of curious.
I must join you on that. One day, mark my words, one day we're going to play Ghost of Tsushima co-op, because that is, I've looked at that game for so long, longingly. But this kind of fits in with the online new meta that's happening, where you can join in PvP, but it's also a battle royale, but there's other NPCs around. We just played a bunch of Battlefield. There's the same kind of similarities in Call of Duty.
Yep.
So that would fit. That would make sense. Prior to this knowledge, though, I was thinking of Tomb Raider. Do you remember playing that Tomb Raider multiplayer?
Sure do. Yep, I was there.
Yeah, I think that was Stadia, actually. We played it last.
Oh, wow.
But that's kind of what I was imagining, like a smaller arena and not a battle royale by any means. But this has me more excited.
Yeah, if we can get two sides to this thing, right? I think that's where I want that PvP experience, just because The Last of Us multiplayer factions, or factions 2, whatever they're going to call it now, the factions back in the day on PS3 dude, there was nothing like it, right? You were going out, you're crafting things together, you're making these smoke bombs, you're making these pipe bombs, and you're chucking them at your opponents there. You're crafting Molotovs out in the middle of the battle, right? And then you're wrapping yourself, you're bandaging yourself up, and you're scavenging for all your resources on the field, coming in with limited, right? Because you only get like so many bullets per gun. So you already come in to some extent somewhat limited. And then from there, you are looking to survive in the midst of battle. Like it was so cool. I want them to iterate off of this and give us that. What if they give us kind of a survival-esque experience, right? What if we've seen things like, dude, I'm going Lost Oasis, right? You make these big walkers, but you go out as a group and you try to, gather all your resources, come back and then build something. What if we get to go out, fight off these zombies, ask kind of like DayZ experience or State of Decay kind of thing, right? What if we go out in that kind of manner? There's you, me, my brother, we're out there, we're hanging out, and we're trying to go gather resources, come back, and build our town up, or like whole.
I like how Vigor did that.
Vigor was awesome. What if we get into ooh, man, Vigor was tough. It's a tough game. There's nothing worse than rolling up and getting rolled by somebody else while you're just about to get away. There's
that problem in a lot of games. I'm thinking of Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves the other day. Okay, here's a quick recap of Sea of Thieves the other day. My son and I were in the game. We are out. We are coming back. We're getting trolled. We've got, what do we have? We had a chest, a couple skulls with us. We had a couple things. Anyways, we're going to go cash in and call it a night. On our way, we get trolled by a brigate. From there, we got trolled by a galleon. The galleon gets attacked by a megalodon. I'm like, ha, we're out of here. Well, doesn't the megalodon jump ship, nails us? I was like, come on, are you kidding me? So we started taking off. We get away from the megalodon, and the Kraken comes up out of the water and just sinks us. I was like, well, that's
nature was really against you on that one.
Dude, it was just one of those, oh man, that's the way that's gonna go. But yeah,
I like to hide about 5% away from the turn-in point. You're gonna go turn this in? Well, almost. Thanks for bringing it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with The Last of Us. I can't wait for anything. We're so starving for any information here. What are we actually doing? I would love to see a state of the play. We're supposed to get factions or whatever the next Last of Us is this year. Neil Druckmann said it last year on Jeff Keighley's show that it's coming this year. And man, I need something this year. With the Last of Us HBO show going, a lot of people are jumping back into the remake, which is fair to say, right? That's a great way to play that. I know some people are playing it they're playing parts of the story that go along with the show. And that's incredible.
That's cool.
Dude, it is so cool. That is the way to do this. I think that is fantastic. And then as you play along, you kind of get the wraps of it. But I'm ready for whatever next is.
Do you let the show spoil it, or do you let the gameplay spoil it? Which one do you push ahead on?
Good question. I've already let the game spoil it for me over the course of almost 8 years or something. Whatever.
Yeah, you don't have the choice.
yeah.
Well, and I'll never forget the number 2 spoiler. Unfortunately, I saw that before you saw that.
Yes. No, I was able to avoid that, thankfully, because that is a huge spoiler. And yeah, we'll see how season 2 looks then.
Oh, even me, unconnected from the game, went, what?
Right? Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't figured that out yet or seen it already, good on you, Scott.
And buckle up.
Let's get into the day before. Developer now says the launch delay was planned before the Steam takedown. Andy Chalk over PC Gamer. Why would you even say this? Why would you even get into the details about this? Why wouldn't you just shut it because you've already delayed your game and just move on? Is beyond me. I don't understand. Hopefully this article will explain something. It's been a super weird ride for the day before. The open world zombie survival game being developed by Prop Night Studio Fantastic. The hype is incredible. But it was the second most wishlisted game on Steam, behind only Hogwarts Legacy, despite virtually nothing being known about it. Just days before Fantastic was due to finally show off the first raw gameplay in 2 years, the day before it was completely removed from Steam. In a statement released on January 25th, Fantastic said the removal was the result of a trademark claim against the title, which I looked into that. Dude, someone went and trademarked the game in the US on the studio before the studio did. The studio announced their game, had their trademark ready to go. They didn't have it trademarked in the US. Somebody came in, swooped it up. What a
That's like some patent theft.
Dude, right?
I've heard that's used to happen a lot in the past, but I wouldn't expect that with video games.
That's not a cool move, man. Not in my eyes
No.
to do that, right? But I'm not that dirty, so I guess whatever.
Unrelated. Let's patent Halo 6.
Right, like that's
7.
You know Microsoft's already done that, which it only found out about on January 19th because of this dispute. The planned gameplay reveal was put on hold, and the release date was pushed back from March 1st to November 10th. Ouch! In a new interview with IGN, however, Fantastic founder Eduardo and Ashton, not even gonna say that, said the delay was actually planned before the trademark dispute came to light. Why would you even say this? You've already said because of this, we've had to delay it. Dude, that's what they said in their statement. Because of this dispute, we've had to delay the game. Now you're going, no, it was already planned. I'm like, this seems dirty. Like this, it doesn't seem transparent enough for me from the studio to want to justify this game, to want to follow along, to want to keep up to date, right? Things aren't adding up, dude, and it's making me nervous.
Well, at best, I think it's some issue with transparency. But at worst, I think we're seeing inner dialogue not match up from the same company. It doesn't make me feel like they're headed in the same direction together.
It's like the internals aren't talking to each other, right? And Brad makes a good point. Dude, you're very right about that, Brad. Ashfall is another circumstance. NetEase came out after... and did a showcase on IGN about Ashfall, their upcoming survival game, whatever. After John Garvin's new studio, Litho Studio, approached NetEase for funding on Ashfall. And so they went in and took the name. Oh, it's been like a lot of people just trying to steal stuff. And it's just, come on, what do you guys do?
Dirty business.
It is dirty, dirty business. Quote, we plan to move the game's release before the plan to announce it with a 10-minute gameplay video, they said. And then you all know what happened. To be on the safe side, to ensure that no more transfers, we, along with the publisher, chose November 10th. That is a safe date, given the trademark dispute. Dude, nothing's safe. I would be surprised we even see this game this year.
Pushing it all the way back to November, that's certainly in question. That's a huge amount of delay, but if it is judicial, legally based, that makes a lot of sense. Those things don't move very quickly. As we know from the Blizzard Activision.
Oh, that's a whole other level, man. That's
a bottomless can of worms.
I've seen people tearing this game apart, like just ripping it down and going, look at this. And the muzzle flash you get on screen when you watch this trailer is actually just JPEG images popping up. Like there's a lot of people concerned about this, right? Yeah, there's a lot of concern going into this game from fans on the outside looking in going, I don't know, like this looks too good to be true. It was kind of, remember way back in the day, I always go back to Killzone 2. We saw this trailer and then we got the game, like this isn't even remotely close. I think this is what we're going to get in for here.
I called that out immediately. I think I was in high school at the time and I had a PlayStation friend that was fighting the console wars every day, and that was one of the things he showed me, and I went, that's not real. We don't have that tech, not for another 10 years.
No. Exactly.
It looked great, but it was suspicious.
Scott, we do have a couple games out today though, my friend. What do we have?
We have Dead Space Remake has hit the new consoles, PlayStation 5, XS, and PC. GoldenEye 007 is available on the Xbox Series consoles, the Xbox One, and the Switch. And the Hitman World of Assassination update has dropped now on Game Pass as well.
That's very cool. I've been into that one. I'll have my review up on this coming week's episode of that. I've been playing a lot of the freelancer mode, and that'll be my focus for that, Scott. And I've got a few things to say. Dude, I'm having a hard time. It's fun, but it is being tough. I'm like, man, do you guys up the difficulty too? Because holy, but I'm trying to do things differently than when I actually played the game beforehand. So yeah, trying to a couple new strategies. But either way, Scott, just like that, my friend, that's gonna wrap up today's show. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can always join us live over on Twitch and YouTube at the official ITG. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Until Monday, everybody, it's a Friday, so enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you inside the game.